So I did something the other day that I kind of told you guys that I would never do again. Something that even I didn't think I'd go back to. But we're going to talk about that in a second because I know some of you have been wondering where I've been. Am I okay? And a few of you have even reached out, and that's greatly appreciated. It truly is awesome. But the short answer is yes, I'm fine. We've just been traveling a lot. We actually started off in July with a family beach trip to Hilton Head Island for a week, which was definitely a great time, but less than 12 hours after we got home, my wife and I left again to drive to New Orleans for her job. We stayed there basically 6 days, and I was able to see a large part of the city and explore and even do some thrifting while she was working. However, as I was driving home, I started feeling pretty bad, and sure enough, so that set me back another 5 or 6 days. And luckily, though, I started feeling better just in time for the Highway 21 Road Market, which is a 100-mile yard sale in North Carolina and Virginia. So I headed there and basically thrifted / yard saled for another 3 days. The day after I got back from that, another work trip with my wife. We went to Greenville, South Carolina for 4 days, and while she was working, I was thrifting. Now, during all this, I did do a lot of filming, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on that bell so you'll get a notification when I release a new video, because I definitely had fun at these places, but I also found some really cool stuff to resell. And also, New Orleans is wild. But what have I done? What is this video about? Well, you can probably tell by the lack of stuff that's usually behind me. I moved my inventory somewhere else. I actually got a storage unit again. And if you've been around a while, you may remember that this isn't the first time that I've used a storage unit. And you may have even seen this video that I did 7 months ago, where I basically moved out of that storage unit and laid out my plan of how I was going to run my business moving forward and all the great benefits of moving out of that unit. The main one being that it was going to save me $280 a month. And as far as business goes, it's been fine. Sourcing has been fine. Sales are fine. Everything is working fine from here without a storage unit. But there's always been something that I even mentioned 7 months ago. And overall, it's been pretty nice. It's been about a month now since I moved out of my storage unit. Everything's right here. When something sells, I just grab it. I don't have to go to my storage unit. And honestly, I do kind of miss that because going to the storage unit kind of helps separate work and home. Working from home is very hard for me. I get distracted really easily. Like I might get up from here to get a glass of water and walk in the kitchen and notice that the sink is full of dishes that need to be put in the dishwasher, but that's because the dishwasher is done washing and those dishes need to be put up. So I put those dishes where they belong and load the dishwasher with the dishes from the sink. And then as I'm about to finally get my water, the dryer buzzes, meaning that there are clothes that need to be folded. So I do that and then move the clothes from the washing machine into the dryer. So basically it's taken me like an hour and a half to get a glass of water. I'm a really slow folder. But more importantly, that's an hour and a half that I'm getting behind, not taking photos, not listing, not shipping. You get the point. But honestly, I've been feeling kind of claustrophobic in here with all of my stuff / inventory. It's a small space, so if it's not perfectly organized, there's stuff everywhere, and I'm constantly tripping over things or having to move one thing to fit another. And I'm not a very neat person, so this office is a mess a lot, which makes it hard to stay motivated to come in here and actually do work. So I'm kind of hoping more space is going to help that out. But probably the main reason I went back to a storage unit, I found a deal. This unit is actually in an old Kmart. Apparently some investor came in and renovated this Kmart and filled it with individual storage units. And it's a pretty new spot, so they're trying to get as many renters in there as quickly as possible, which means they're running promotions. Now, typically, when they run promotions, these things don't last but like maybe a month before they start raising your rent. And that's what happened at my old unit. They just kept going up more and more. So when I went and looked at these units, I actually asked the guy if there was a way to lock in the rate. Surprisingly, there was. I could prepay up to 16 months in advance, and I'd be locked in at that rate for that time period. Not only that, if I decided to move out before that time period was up, they would refund me the difference. And honestly, that sounded too good to be true, but I had my daughter as a witness, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger and prepaid for 12 months in advance. So leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think the going rate is for a 10 by 30 climate controlled storage unit per month. Leave a comment down below and I'll give you a cost breakdown towards the end. All right, so how about a quick tour? Like I said, this is a 10 by 30, and honestly, it feels kind of huge to me. Definitely a lot bigger than my office, definitely a lot bigger than my last storage unit. But walking in on the left-hand side, we've got golf clubs galore. You can see all the golf clubs and bags over here. Good spot for that over here. They're all together. On the right-hand side, we've got bins. The orange bins for clothing, blue bins for hard goods, and then any hard goods that don't fit in the bins are going on these shelves right here. You can see I definitely need to do something a little different with the shoes. This is kind of temporary. Might end up getting a shoe rack. Not real sure, but I've even got an extra rack over here, so I've got a little bit of room to grow currently. But honestly, if I needed to, I could line this whole wall with more shelves. And then if I really needed more room, I could put the shelves perpendicular to the wall. But for now, I really like it open like this. Gives me room to breathe, room to move around, and not such a claustrophobic feeling like I had in my office. And then back in this corner on the backhand side, got all my shipping stuff. Got my tall boxes here. I've actually got a little place to put bubble wrap. It's just a piece of PVC pipe between these two shelves, but it works really good. More shipping supplies down here. And then these boxes back here are actually freebies from my neighbors. I made a post on our neighborhood Facebook page probably 2 or 3 years ago asking for people's leftover Amazon boxes. And sure enough, I get people dropping them off like 2 or 3 times a week. I've always got boxes. And the best part is they're free. And then I run everything from this laptop here. This is a El Cheapo Motile laptop. I got it from Walmart for like 150 bucks like 3 years ago. It's seen better days. You can see it's missing keys because I dropped a book on it, but it still works. You push the buttons and they still work. And that is actually powered by my Jackery Explorer 300 generator. Not sponsored, by the way, but that charges the laptop and it runs the label printer. And I don't have to charge this thing but like once a week, so it's really good. But yeah, it runs the label printer. When I get ready to print a label, print it from there, slap it on the box, good to go. And then I'm connected to the internet via my phone through the mobile hotspot. And oddly enough, this is one of the few places in my town where I get a good 5G signal. So it's actually pretty fast. So that's kind of the basics of this unit as I have it set up now. And that's certainly subject to change based on how my business changes. But I'm kind of excited about it. I've got plenty of room now. It's very convenient. It's actually in between my daughter's 2 schools. So I basically have to come by here when I'm picking them up or dropping them off. So to run in and pick something up or ship something real quick, not a big deal. It's also right across the parking lot from the post office. If I walk out the main entrance, it's that brick building with the blue awning over there. So I could basically walk to drop off my packages. I'm also thinking about possibly doing a listing station over here. You can see these bright fluorescents actually run all the way across my unit. Definitely a good spot. So I've got plenty of lighting in here. I could get 1 or 2 more LEDs and it wouldn't take more power to run and produce some really good photos. So I'm thinking about doing a listing station so I could do all my eBay business here. But leave me a comment. Let me know. Do you think that's a good idea? You got any tips or suggestions? Certainly let me know. I'd greatly appreciate it. But let's talk about how much this thing costs. All right, scratch that for just a second. Just dropped off some orders at the post office. It's also raining outside due to Tropical Storm Debbie. A little rainy, a little windy. But I remembered something very convenient about my storage unit. It's actually right down the street from a Goodwill. So I'm actually going to time it and see how long it takes to get to Goodwill from my storage unit. And then I'll run inside and see if I can find a few things to maybe pay the rent. All right, final answer, 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Not sure you can see that. And most of that's because I had to stop at a stupid long stoplight. Let's get in here and see what we can find. All right, found something. Actually, shout out to my buddy Steve-O, who actually found this first. Decided he didn't want it. It's a Land Rover spring-loaded cargo organizer. They only want $10.99. There's 22 listed and 18 sold in new condition. And the sold ones are anywhere from like 70 to 140. So we're gonna get that. So kind of a surprising find at that Goodwill that was only 3 minutes away from my storage unit. So definitely worth the trip. Comps are certainly all over the place, but 3 actually sold yesterday, oddly enough. One sold for 100 free shipping, one sold for 60 plus shipping, and then another one sold for 75 free shipping. So even if I get the least amount, the 60 plus shipping, that's going to pay for almost half of my rent for my storage unit for a month. and it really is that cheap. I've got the receipt right here. For a month, the rent is $104. Of course, they've got to add mandatory insurance. That's another $16.50. And then there's a $2.42 administration fee. So for 1 month, my rent on a 10 by 30 climate controlled storage unit is $122.92. To me, that's really cheap. That's like way less than half of what I was paying before. Of course, like I said, I did sign up for 12 months and prepay to lock it in, so I spent a total of $14.75. Now, the scary part is I do only have that locked in for a year, so we're gonna have to see what happens. We'll see how much they raise the rent. But for now, I'm pretty happy and excited about it. And if you're still watching, maybe you can help me out. What should I do back here where I gained a whole bunch of space? I was thinking maybe to do like a little lounge area where I could kind of come in and relax, or maybe a YouTube filming area. Not real sure. I did find this little cabinet the other day at Goodwill for $9. Obviously it's golf themed, but it actually holds 2 putters and some balls and has a little cutout at the bottom where you can practice your putting. May end up putting our internet equipment in there. Not real sure. Got a lot of options, but maybe you guys can help me out. Leave me a comment down below. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.